let's touch base on news of the IRDA relaxing their solvency norms for general insurers. Sanjeev Bajaj, who's the MD of Bajaj Finserv and Investments, joins us on the line from Pune to put things in perspective. Mr. Bajaj, thanks very much for taking out the time. The IRDA has released new directive and has relaxed the solvency norms. I think the amount is a hit of about 10,000 crores plus, which will be provided for in 3 tranches. What's the expectation? How would this ease things for Bajaj Finserv?
Tanvir, our insurance company, there is Bajaj Allianz General Insurance Company, and even last year, which was the first part of this motor pool loss provisioning that was made for 10-11, I think we were the only profitable general insurance company post that. Now, the second tranche is what IRDA just announced. There was a first announcement on the 3rd of January, and then there's some relaxation in taking this additional hit instead of in this year over the next 3 years, as you rightly pointed out. So this note has just come out yesterday. Our team is taking a look at it, and there's an option for companies to either take everything in this year or distribute it over the next 3 years. So we will just take a look at it and decide what position we are going to take on this. The pool in general naturally has been a huge loss-making pool, and it's been a huge drag for the general insurance sector. So that's been a negative, but the good thing is that this pool comes to an end on the 31st of March. It is going to be replaced by a much smaller pool called the declined motor pool, which will also be loss-making, but we expect it to be just 10 to 12% of the size of the current pool. It will also result in greater responsibility on companies to underwrite this line of business in a proper manner. So we have to see how the new pool carries forward, but at this stage, we are studying the impact of yesterday's IRDA notice.
What would you prefer? I mean, would you prefer to adjust for the losses in one go, or would you want to spread it out? I mean, you are still contemplating that, but, just off the cuff, what would be a more prudent strategy, given that, most of your companies are doing well?
So you need to balance wanting to be conservative and take the hit right away with an unnecessary additional solvency pressure that may come by taking it in 1 year versus 3 years. So we have to just see versus the new solvency norms that they've put in yesterday's note as well. If we are meeting that in this year itself, then we need to take a call whether it's just better to clean it out and move ahead. On the other hand, if it creates an unnecessary stress on the book, but it's an artificial stress, right? It's not for 1 year's business, it's for multiple years, then it may make sense to distribute it over the next 3 years. So I think this situation will differ company by company. However, the companies that do decide to defer it have to very clearly put that in as a note so that anyone going through it clearly understands how much has been taken and how much is not. So I don't have an answer what we will do yet, since we are just evaluating our options at this point of time.
Sanjeev, morning, Neeraj here.
Morning.
Despite that, I mean, what's the quantum of the losses, principally the third-party motor pool? Any idea for you as a company?
Yes, this year it will be in the region of about 400 crores plus minus 10% or so for the total amount. Okay. Of this, about 140 crores has already been provided by us in the first 3 quarters, and that's why if you see our Q3 results, we had said an additional 300 odd crores is something that is likely to come in Q4. I will repeat, that is if we decide to take everything in this year. So this is the only thing we have to evaluate, given that IRDA circular just come out yesterday.
The other bit, Sanjeev, is about the capital infusion that companies would have to do. I mean, 8,000 crores for the industry, I believe, as a whole. Where does this money come from, and are there timelines that have been attached to this? And if so, how would you go about doing this?
Okay, so again, this differs from company to company. In our case, we have been profitable from our first full year of operation. So the total capital that the two promoters have brought in is just around 260 crores. Our net worth today is almost 1,000 crores, which means we have been making very good profits over the years. And hence, in our case, we don't see the need to bring in additional capital. Now, I'm saying this without taking into account what IRDA said yesterday, because that, as I said, we are still evaluating. So our situation may be a little different from a few other companies who would be much more stressed on capital.
Okay, pertinent. Yeah, your losses are that much lower. Great. Okay, let's just talk about I mean, we always talk to you, post your numbers about how business is shaping up, but given all that's happening as well, we just at the end of Q3, how's business shaping up? Commercial finance, consumer finance for Bajaj Finserv per se?
Okay, so we're at the end of Q4.
Q4, excuse me, yeah.
The year on the financing side has been much better than what we had expected. So we are still not seeing any strain on our book. We have, however, been conservative on certain lines, including unsecured financing, our construction equipment financing, and commercial financing, where we finance some of Bajaj Auto's top vendors. On the other hand, the consumer space, whether it's two-wheeler financing or consumer durable financing or even the SME space, continues to grow at a healthy pace. And since we are still a very small book, it's just about 13,000 crores end of March, we can still choose to decide where we will do business and do it in a thoughtful manner. So this business has grown well. Our general insurance continues to grow well, other than this third-party motor pool that we've just discussed. So if I were to take the third-party pool out, we've been reporting, even if you see for Q3, a combined ratio below 95%, which is a very healthy underwriting result. And we are growing at 16-17%, which we think is very healthy. The life business has seen a challenge for the industry and for us over the last 2 years, particularly with the new regulations that came out in September 2010. Here again, we have worked through our different distribution channels to reorganize them, keeping in mind the changed regulations. And as a result, the decline in growth that we saw last year in our new business premiums and in the first 3 quarters, that decline has started narrowing from first quarter to second to third, from minus 37% to minus 30 to minus 20. And in all likelihood, fourth quarter, we will not see any significant decline. So directionally, that business again is heading towards growth next year. So overall, things are looking fine when I'm looking at each of these businesses.
Right. More from a policy perspective, Mr. Bajaj, since we have you with us, the insurance bill will be taken up in the current session of Parliament. What are your expectations? Will the government give a go-ahead for 49% FDI? How pressing is the need? And if, that gets delayed, then how do you think the life insurance industry will meet its capital requirements?
And again, this is something that will differ company by company. So I can, if I have to say on a broad basis, I don't know whether the 49% will happen. It is something that Parliament has to decide. I believe the Standing Committee has made a recommendation against it. There are many other important points in the Insurance Act and giving additional powers to the regulator, which is also part of this act, and that's why we are hoping that it goes through, because it will just help the insurance industry grow. As regarding what each person or each company will do for their capital raise, this is something that they need to decide. In our case, both Allianz and we have built two very solid companies, which in the current circumstance don't need capital. Even our life company, as against a required solvency of 150%, we are currently at over 500%. So neither partner needs to put in capital. We have built these businesses thoughtfully and profitably.